Hello, hello, welcome, welcome. It's a great day to have a great day. So as you're coming on the line, do me a favor and drop and say hi. I want to know whenever you're coming in. This whole like operation here, if I'm being really honest with you guys, like I haven't been live in this group for so long, I really couldn't even figure out how to go live. So here we are. But as you're coming on the line, do me a favor. I do see we've got some people here. Say hello so I can see the comments. Let me know where you're coming in from. Nobody likes a creepy neighbor. Okay, I understand. I've been a creepy neighbor before. It's kind of like the person that's like kind of just like watching, but they never say hello. So say hello when you pop on. And I'll tell you what, if you have friends in the group, because I know it's been a while, but I know that once upon a time, we had friends that were inviting friends and so on and so forth, but tag them below so they know that we're live. And of course, if you missed me, do me a favor and drop hashtag grit to glory down below if you're catching the replay. So I'm going to get right into it today. I want to welcome you in. I am Charity Michelle Schaefer, and I began this group in 2019. And I will tell you, okay, so many of us hung out for quite a bit. And then when a different season came, we hung out a little less, or we hung out in different places. But if I'm being really, really very truthful with you, I have been in here in this group next to none for quite some time, okay? However, now with that being said, I have been feeling like this nudge, okay, probably for like the last couple of months or so to reawaken this group. That's why we called it the Reawakening. Like we called it Grit to Glory, the Reawakening, because it's time to wake some things up. I see we got some other live viewers on. Drop in the comments below who you are, hello. And maybe you are doing that and I just can't see comments. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway. So we're reawakening the group. And so my intention today, as you're on here, as you're watching the replay or you're here live, is I'm going to tell you who I am. Now, some of you may know who I am. However, I'm going to share with you a little bit about my story. And I'm going to share with you what is Grit to Glory. You might be wondering, you might be new to the group. You might have forgotten. Oh, I see Brady Nash is watching. Hi, Brady. How are you? Lisa Brady's in the house. Yeah, I'm starting to see some people. Oh my gosh, it's so good to see you guys. Some of my favorite people in the world are here. Okay, focus back in. Okay, so I'm going to be sharing with you what is Grit to Glory and what value you can expect by being a part of this community. Like what is in it for you to exchange some of your time to be a part of it. I'm also going to tell you how you can win some prizes. We've got some really cool, fun swag. This is one of the cool little swag things. I don't know if we've got any coffee drinkers in the class today, or up in the group today, or whatever. But this is our slogan at Grit to Glory: overcome, break through, and live free. So this is one of the swag pieces. I'm going to take a little drink here. But also, how can you win some Grit to Glory cash? How can you possibly win some free coaching? We've got some cool, fun things that you're going to have an opportunity to win. Now, let's go ahead and get into it here. Who am I? Okay, in starting this out, I'm going to be very candid. I'm going to be very open. I'm going to be very vulnerable with you if that's okay. If that's okay, let me know down below that that's okay. All right, I grew up in Kentucky in what most would call very humble conditions. I was the oldest of 4 kids. So I had a lot of responsibility growing up in the South, and just like really being the caretaker, and the helper for my family. I will also tell you that in growing up, and also it being very humble conditions, and just the dynamics of everything that was at play there, Child Protective Services was in and out of our life throughout basically my entire life. Okay. Now, I also remember as a teenager, there's things right now I'm going to be kind of brushing over, but as we get to know each other better, there's going to be more stories that I'm going to elaborate on and share with you all as we're growing and cultivating in here and learning about one another. However, as a teenager, I remember hustling, okay, some Avon products, okay? I don't know if anybody is familiar with Avon, all right? If you're familiar with Avon, drop me a thumbs up in the comments, okay? But as a teenager, I remember literally taking like a catalog, okay, and walking up and down the streets, knocking on doors and asking people to look and order from my one lookbook. I said, I only got one, so, not later's not going to work. I need you to look at it now. And then also literally selling like lip glosses and things like that in the halls at school just to make some extra bucks, okay? Now, when I turned 18, I started a sales canvassing job, okay, for a company that represented Kirby vacuum cleaners. So if you're familiar with Kirby vacuum cleaners, maybe drop a high five in the comments, okay? I will tell you though that as a canvasser for Kirby Vacuum Cleaners, meaning I went and knocked on doors. I was an appointment setter. I hated it. I hated it so much. I remember, okay, I at that time lived in the Midwest. I don't know if we've got any Midwesters in here, okay? But the winters in the Midwest, I had never known I could be so cold in my life. Like the water in my eyeballs, I remember whenever I would walk up and down the streets to set these appointments. And the quicker that I could set the appointments, the quicker I could go sit in the vehicle while dealers went in and did demos, okay? But I remember just like being so cold, like my nose hairs and my nose were like frozen, like frosty. And I remember one time, even to the point where like, and I'm getting off topic a little bit, but I remember walking down the street and I went up to this one door and I was frozen. I was so cold. And I thought, okay, I just got to get some appointments set. And I remember I literally knocked on the door, and they're usually like, we don't want to buy anything, and I'm like, I'm not selling anything, and all this thing. And I remember though, just literally being so cold when they opened the door. I knew what I was meant to say because it's like was pretty routine in what I would say. But I was so cold that I looked up and I said, they were like, they took sympathy on me. But anyway, I said, never mind. Never mind. I said, I'm so cold, just never mind. And they just looked at me kind of funny. And I think they took sympathy on me. And they were like, would you like some hot chocolate? And I was like, yeah, I really would. But anyway, okay, I hated that job. I hated what I was doing. Now, I will tell you, however, I developed my skills and I went on to become the #1 canvasser in the Northwest Midwest region, which was a pretty big deal. Okay. I was like, okay, so I hated it, but I decided, you know what? I might as well make the most of it. Now, I became a mother when I was 19. I had my second daughter when I was 20. At 22, I will tell you, I felt like that I hit my rock bottom, living in a homeless shelter. I remember with 2 weeks remaining, that I could actually stay at that shelter. I was laying in bed. I was praying. Again, as you guys are coming on the line, drop in, say hello. I'd love for you to say hi as you're coming on the line. But I remember laying in that shelter bed and I remember praying. And I remember growing up that I had made a vow to myself. There were different moments in time that I can remember making a vow to myself that I would do things differently than what I had experienced growing up. That I would be the pattern breaker, that I would be the cycle breaker in my family. And of course, all these things, of course, I'm young, I'm 22 years old, and I never thought that that's where I would be at that moment in my life, but that's where I was at. And I was praying about these things, and here I was presently, even though that those vows were going back through my mind and how I had made those promises to myself, I realized I was on the fast track to just continuing the cycle. I was on the fast track to being a statistic, to being low income, to being, government housing, government assistance, all the different components. And I won't tell you that those things are bad. I've actually participated in them throughout my life, and they were stepping stones for me. But I'd made a vow that I was going to be a cycle breaker, that I was going to be a pattern breaker, and here I was in a homeless shelter, and it wasn't looking real good, okay? So I knew that something had to change. And so here I was one day, I got up, maybe it was the next day, I don't really know the whole timeline, okay? But I know that I got up, and I was walking to work. I didn't have a car. I was walking to a retail job that I had. Some of you guys might be familiar with Pier 1 Imports. That's where I worked at the time. And as I was walking to my job, I looked over and I saw an Army recruiting station. Now, I'm going to tell you right here, right now, that was not my first choice. I was like, okay, God, I know we was talking. I know we was having some conversations about like some answers. I don't think that's the one. I don't know if you guys have ever felt like that when you're in prayer, but that's what I was like, because I was like, God, they had this nudge of like, well, maybe they could help me out. Like I'm in a tough place here. However, I will tell you, like I said, it wasn't my first choice. But in a lot of ways, it felt like my last chance. And so I did. I went on to go join the military. I joined the United States Army. Fast forward, I got through training, okay, to then be united with my children at my duty station, to then also then find out that I was going to very quickly and shortly be sent over to be united with my unit that was already deployed to Afghanistan. So I was like, oh man, I wasn't feeling super happy about that. However, the mission was first. And so that's what I did. Now, when I returned, I realized that being away really affected our daughters. Okay, now they were just little tots at this time, but they really did go on to, like, due to my absence and all the different things, they developed what was really like a separation anxiety. Okay, and so what would happen is anytime that I needed to leave or I had to go to work or whatever it was, they would cry and they would question and they would want to know, if I was going to be coming back later that day. And it was very, very challenging. Of course, as you know, from a mother's point of view and from a mother's heart, that's heartbreaking. You to see your child, your little tot, you never want to see him cry, but you're just like, oh my goodness, like I really got to go though. I'm going to be like formation. They're going to make me do push-ups, like I got to go. Anyway, they had developed that. So obviously that pulled at my heartstrings, right? And then here I am again. I remember laying in bed, right? I'm laying in bed, I'm crying, right? I'm thinking, I'm praying, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, man, there has got to be a better way. Like I felt like I was doing everything that I knew that I could do. I was determined not to be a victim of any of my circumstances, that I would continuously overcome, break through, and do whatever I needed to do. I mean, that's really what my mindset was, right? But I thought, this is just not working. This is breaking my heart, but I don't know what else to do, right? And so from there, I would tell you, God did answer my prayer. It just was in a way that I least expected it. Like I was like, no, God, that is not the way. Like I think we are not on the same page here, okay? So what I mean by that is inter-network marketing, okay? I will tell you what, I had some preconceived notions about this industry. All right. I thought it was peddling products out of the trunk of your car. I thought it was being a part of the NFL, the No Friends Left Club. Okay. I thought a lot of different things. Like I said, I was skeptical. I had preconceived notions. I was like, oh Lord, I don't think that's it. I think you missed it on this one. Okay. However, something caused me to hang in there long enough to honor the process, to get my questions answered. And then what happened was I ended up catching a vision. I caught a vision because here's what I thought. I thought, well, if they can do it, I can do it too. Okay. I will tell you that it was not without a challenge. It was not without a challenge. I had little to no influence. Okay. No one was chasing me around, chasing after me, asking me for business advice. All right. But I thought, you know what? We'll build it. Okay. They're telling me I can learn. One of the biggest things that I love about network marketing is that it's really a personal development plan attached to a comp plan. Changed my life. Okay. So I committed to go professional in the industry. I worked full-time in the Army and I worked part-time on my dream of becoming a full-time family. Like that's what was really near and dear to my heart. I wanted to own my time. I wanted to be with my children. I wanted to be with my husband. I wanted to do the things that I wanted to do, okay? I wanted to give to the causes that were important to me. You get the point, okay? So what happened is that I was coachable, I was teachable. I got outside of my comfort zone. I did things that sometimes I thought, are you nuts? Like, what are you doing? I thought, you know what, we're going to do it because they say copy the right cats. I'm going to copy this cat. He's where I want to be. So what happened is we went on to replace my Army income. And so then I was able to get out. I was able to come home and be a full-time mom with my kiddos. Then we went on to replace my husband's income. So then he comes home, he's a full-time dad, full-time mom, full-time dad. We achieved our goal of being a full-time family. It was a really significant thing. And so of course we were committed to supporting others with the same dream. Full-time family, it became a movement. We scaled, we led an organization that generated over multiple 8 figures in revenue and sales in all 50 states and spanned internationally. It was a really great time. We worked with some of the most incredible people. We had incredible leaders within our organization. Now, I'll tell you, so for nearly 10 years, we did that. And then following some unfortunate sudden events, that company no longer exists today. We had a plot twist, okay? An unexpected plot twist. Okay, here it was, in our 20s and things like that. We did real well, and then we had a plot twist, okay? Now, here it was. I personally, I felt like I was psychological unemployable. All right. Now, here's the thing. I will tell you, though, at some point in this community, I will tell you some stories of this, what I would call the in-between season. Okay. Of just really trying to figure things out. It was really a challenging time, liquidating everything, moving into an empty house, like going and signing back up on food stamps after, it was a lot of crazy things that had happened. Okay. Now, going to try to get jobs and then continuously being rejected. But I'm going to tell you, rejection was protection, because honestly, I believe wholeheartedly now that the more the pictures unfolded, God just kept slamming those doors because he had a different purpose. He had a different thing, he had a different vision in mind. So I'll tell you now, in Grit to Glory, my company, it was born in 2018. Now you might be asking yourself, maybe you know, maybe you don't know, but what is Grit to Glory? I promised you I would tell you what that is today. All right, now I will tell you, in many ways, it's a movement. All right, we're passionate, so passionate. As you can tell, that I'm already passionate about this. We're passionate about supporting women and overcoming and whatever's holding them back. We're passionate about breaking through anything that is standing in your way currently or even generationally. And then living free in life, relationships, and finances. Okay, so this here, we are the home for the Grit to Glory woman and wherever she may be in her journey. And I will tell you, because I was sitting down, I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, who is the Grit to Glory woman? Who is she? And things just started beginning to download for me and who she is. And I'm going to tell you who she is, okay? And you may or may not resonate with some of these pieces. And if you do, tell me down below. Like, I resonate, okay? But the Grit to Glory woman is the woman that has faith in things that are not yet seen. She knows and she can and does call things that are not as though that they are. She's a magnet for miracles and possibilities. She heals. She takes her healing seriously. And so then in doing so, she passes that healing on to others. She's abundant. Her presence, it commands respect. She leads from her heart. She's a heart-centered leader. She's persistent. She's committed to seeing things through. She's committed to the growth and the elevation of her consciousness. She feels compelled. She feels convicted in cultivating to live a life of freedom. She's also compelled and convicted in helping others unlock that for themselves. She's convicted to do more in the world, to be more, and to leave her mark in the world. And so what we do at Grit to Glory, we have pillars that we train, we teach, we certify, we coach from that are supportive in the further development of the Grit to Glory woman and that identity, which are from the subconscious mindset, right? Emotional intelligence, leadership, energetics, nervous system regulation, money consciousness. And so I will tell you that I am so honored for you to be a part of it. I'm so honored to be opening up this community and for you to be here, whether it's live or on the replay. I'll tell you the vision for this group, if I'm being completely transparent, it's still downloading. I felt the nudge, it's like, okay, here's the nudge, it's time to open this community back up, right? Because my heart is that this is going to be a place for community and growth and for connection. That's what my heart is. But what's happening is I'm getting like a little piece of it, and then I'm, beat it, and I'm taking a step, and it's like I'm not waiting until I see the whole staircase. I'm like, okay, we're going to take some action. Here we are. And so here I am. I couldn't even figure out how to go live in the group today. I was like, well, we're going to figure it out. I'm Googling, like, okay, because it's changed. Some things have changed. But anyway, community is so important. It's so important. It's so important to have women to do life with. And I will tell you for a long time, this is another story that I can even tell you at some point, but I was was more of like the woman where like I was like kind of like guarded off. Like I really didn't really do life with other women. In fact, I didn't really like other women, to be really transparent. I was kind of like the one that was like, oh, women just don't get me. They don't get me, Now, like over the time and course of like healing and being in community and just growth and all the different components, man, women, we can change the world. Like when we come together, we can change the world. I'm not even kidding you. Okay. So you may be on the other side of this live today. Okay. And you may have listened to my story, like the small piece of the story that I shared with you, and maybe it resonated with you. And if it did, and you feel called to it, share with me that it resonated with you. Okay. There may be other women in here though, that have a story that you would resonate with, or you may be the person that has a story that other women need to hear because they resonate it within them. Okay. What I found though is this: when we begin to share stories in a community, what we begin to find out is that we're actually more alike than we are different. Sometimes I think that there's different things that happen, and I could get on a whole soapbox with this, but times in ways that we think that, oh, they don't understand, or they're different, or this and that. But when it really comes down to it and the rubber meets the road, man, there's so many reasons more that we're the same than we are different. But it starts with connection. It starts with opening up. It starts with sharing your story. It starts with all those components. And then all of a sudden you go, my goodness, they're not really that much different than me. And the way that they experience that, like, it unlocks something in me. And then when they share, it unlocks something in you. And so a really beautiful quote that I would often say is, each of us need all of us and all of us need each of us. Because you see, we're all just walking each other home. And so there's that piece that I feel like that I wanted to share there, okay? So I kind of went down a rabbit hole a little bit, but that's just kind of my style. For those of y'all that know me, I get going, and then it's like, where are we going with this, okay? Anyway, now, you know that we have some opportunities also to win some prizes and giveaways. I talked about that a little bit in the beginning. Some swag. This is a really groovy cup, y'all. Don't you think? If you like it, push some hearts for me if you like that. Isn't that cool? I like that. And the front says Grip to Glory. And there's my lips on it. I feel like Vanna White. Step right up. Here it is. Okay. Anyway, we got some cool swag, some Grit to Glory cash that, you know, you'll be able to invest in terms of, like, you know, just different opportunities and things that you can put that towards. And also maybe some free coaching. We might offer some prizes and giveaways as far as that goes. Now, I'm going to tell you how you can get into a draw for some of those things in a moment. We've also got really cool groovy t-shirts too, like, as well. Like, they're real cool. Back in the day, we did a hashtag Grit Girl Boss type thing. We had some cool tumblers. We would do member spotlight. Like, some of you guys that were on here, or you may even be on here now listening, like, you were some of those people that won some of that stuff. It was really cool. But anyway, I'm going to tell you about all that in a moment, okay? Now, one of the things you're going to want to do, though, all right, if any of this resonated with you at all, if you're like, man, this movement, I want to be a part of this movement. You know, I want to be a part of this community. And so I want to invite you to turn on your notifications, okay, for this group. Because we're going to be, like I said, rolling out more and more activity in it, all right? Now, one of the first things that you're going to get excited about, all right, that you should get excited about, because I'm pumped, okay, about this, is we're going to have a free masterclass coming up. And I've decided to host it here in this community. Okay. And I've decided for it to be a free masterclass. All right. I got the branding for it back last night from my graphic designer, and I was like, oh, this is so good. I'm so excited. Oh, chef's kiss. She's always so great. She hits the nail on the head with every single thing. But what we're going to be teaching in that, just to kind of sum it up, we're going to be rolling out more about it in the days to come. However, it's like the things, if you're finding yourself, like, you know, hitting up against the ceiling, whether it's in whatever it is in your life. Okay, we're really going to be doing a deep dive in on how to release resistance to what it is that you want. So that's going to be coming down the pipeline. All right, I'm swirling around the idea of recording live podcasting here with you. Like I said, I got the nudge to do the Reawakening for the community. All right, and then God's like, okay, go ahead and go take some action. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go do some action. Okay, and then I'm like, what's the next step, right? But these things are about, like, I'm kind of, you know, is it mulling them over? Is that the way you would say it? But I'm swirling around these ideas. We're definitely going to be doing the masterclass, which you can be a part of. You can invite friends to be a part of it. It's going to be dynamite, okay? I've thought about maybe even doing some morning motivation with you during my walking pad time. Like, I'm like, man, what if we set up this light? We do light together. Like, hey, good morning. You getting your steps in this morning? Have you had your prayer time this morning? Like, you know, like, I thought about that, you know, because I put myself up too in the morning time. I thought, well, how fun would it be to do that with the community? I would love to hear from you, however, as well, okay, down in the comments below, what you would like to see. What would be supportive for you? What would add value to you in your life as it pertains to the community? I can't say we will do all those things. However, we'll see, right? It's open for a conversation, all right? So, now, how to be entered into the draws for the prizes. The prizes are groovy, man, okay? There's a few ways that you can get your name in, okay? They're all easy to do. They're easy not to do, okay? It's entirely up to you, all right? And there's ways in which that you can get multiple, your name entered into the draw multiple times for multiple chances, okay? Now, the first thing that you can do, super easy to do. Today, I shared my story with you. I shared a portion of it. I'm just inviting you to introduce yourself. I want to invite you to share your story. I want to invite you to share it and post it in the group. You never know the power of your story and how it might impact somebody else. Ever. You never, ever know. There's been people that have come back into my life or that they heard a portion of my story or whatever I was sharing. You know, especially when we was network marketing days, when we was like in living room to living room to living room all over the world, really. I've had people come back into my inbox years later and say, you said this one thing and it changed something for me. And I thought, man, because those moments you share, sometimes you think, well, is there anybody even listening? Did it land at all? Like, are they, does it really even make a difference? Like, should I even, and I know you guys know what I'm talking about. However, you just never know. So a way to get in the draw is to introduce yourself in the group. Share your story. Share what you're comfortable with, right? If this is something that's more edgy for you, if you're like, oh man, that sounds like that good, but I'm usually not the first person to share kind of thing, that's almost like your indication that you should definitely share. You should definitely introduce yourself. You should definitely share your story. Share something about yourself, okay? Take the opportunity for growth in a safe space and a safe community and a place in which that you can be held and supported in that, okay? So you can post it in the group, and then you're going to get entered into the draw. Now, here's the second way that you can get entered into the draw, all right? If what I have said had shared with you in terms of the vision and the mission and what we're doing here, if it resonates with you at all, and you know other women that would resonate with, that it would be a blessing for them, that it would be something that you're like, man, they're a Grit to Glory woman. Like, heck yeah, man, we got to get them up in here. Do your job and invite them into the community. Now, what this does not mean, okay, I want to be very clear on this. So pay attention. What this does not mean is just adding a bunch of people to the group, okay? It means just that, what I said, adding a bunch of people to the group. No one likes to be kidnapped to a group, okay? I think we've all been there before. I don't know if you've ever been kidnapped into a group. Most likely you have been, where you're just like, how did I even end up here? Like, I don't even know, what is this? What's going on, people? Okay? So I want to invite you, if it resonates with you and you want to invite them as though you would invite them to something, like out to dinner or something. You wouldn't just go kidnap somebody like, and then they show up and they're like, where am I? Oh, I wanted to take you to dinner. Here we are. And they'll be like, what the heck? This is really weird, right? So intentionally invite them to be a part of the Grit to Glory community, all right? We're only going to be approving those that answer the questions as well. I think that's important for you to know. For every person that you invite, though, you will get a draw entered into the drawing. So that's super exciting, all right? There's an opportunity there for you. All right, number three. For those that have been or are existing clients of Grit to Glory, I'd love if it feels aligned for you, if you feel called to it. I'd love for you to share an experience that you've had working with us. How did the experience add value to you? And you can share that right inside of this community. If you feel called to it and you want to do a bigger share in your Facebook wall, just make sure you tag me, and our team will make sure that you get entered into the draw for that. If that feels a little bit too stretchy, just share within the community. Share what your experience has been, share how it added value to you. So all of these ways will get you entries into the draw. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to put them in the names in a spinner thing, and then they will be randomly picked, and I will go live next week to share with you who they are, okay? And then you'll get things mailed out to you, and it's so fun. It's like one of my favorite things to do anyway. I love to give away like prizes and stuff. Like, it is my jam. It is so fun for me. I love to recognize the people, highlight them, all the different things. It's like, it lights me up. Like, it's one of my favorite things to do, okay? So be sure that you turn on the notifications for the group, okay? And I'm sure, as you would agree, community is a lot more fun when everyone is engaging, okay? So, if you're feeling compelled to be like the creepy neighbor and kind of like, off to the side, I want to invite you to not be the creepy neighbor, to jump in the pool, to have some fun, to engage, to introduce yourself. Every person that watches this video should, in my opinion, if any of this resonates with you, if you'd love to have more community, if you identify as a Grit to Glory woman, and all these different components, you should have an introduction in the group. Hey, I am such and such. This is my story. This is what I'm passionate about. If you see as well, like in terms of like, really, it's going to be like a Grit to Glory network, if you will, in a way. Like, this is my vision a little bit. I guess this is downloaded for me. If somebody's like, man, I need a great graphic designer. If you know somebody that is a great graphic designer, share with them who the great graphic designer is. Like, don't be a gatekeeper, okay? So I want to invite you to engage as you feel led to it. I want to invite you to do so, engage in, lovingly, respectfully, things that are opposite of that will not be tolerated. Obviously, you know that. That's not the vibe around here. So in closing, I just want to furthermore invite you once more to drop in the chat below any suggestions that you'd like to see in terms of the way that we can serve you in here and ways that we can support you in here along your journey of growth and so on and so forth, okay? So with that said, take another drink here. And my groovy mug. Y'all got to admit, this is a cool one. I don't know if you guys are commenting or what, but I can't see any comments. I see names that I know, and I'm like, oh my gosh, my favorite people are here. And I don't know if you're just watching or if you're commenting. I don't know. I feel like you're the type of people that would say hello. But anyway, who knows? Like I said, I had a hard time figuring out how to go live in this group because I was like, man, it has been, like, I'm a dinosaur as far as it goes, I guess, in terms of going live in groups. It's been that long. Anywho. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I'm excited for where this is going to go. I'm just following the nudges, like, intentionally, in terms of, like, doing life with other women that have similar visions, right? And supporting, and, together everyone achieves more. Each of us need all of us, and all of us need each of us. And anybody that tells you that they don't, they're not telling you the truth. I haven't done it alone, and I don't think that if you attempt to go out and do it alone, it's a lot harder than if you go together, okay? So thanks so much for hanging out with me today, either live or on the replay. Both are valuable. You are valuable. And I want you to know too, and just as a reminder, that the best is still yet to come. So I'm sending lots and lots of love wherever you're at in the world, and I will see you next time.